You're listening to Eat, Theatre, Sleep, Repeat, Blackpool Grand Theatre's podcast. Your fun-filled look behind the curtain. Get ready for incredible stories, backstage gossip, community highlights, and plenty of star power. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to Eat, Theatre, Sleep, Repeat. Joining me on this episode are stars of Noel and Gertie themselves playing the title characters, Gary Tushaw as Noel Coward and Rebecca Trehearn as Gertrude Lawrence. A big welcome, guys, to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Very nice to be with you.
So, guys, just to start off with, can I ask, what was it that drew you guys into playing both of the roles, Noel and Gertie?
Want to go first?
Sure. So I'd previously done some of Noel Coward's work in the past, and always loved his work. Was aware of him, as a kind of figure. He works on so many levels. Not only a great writer, but a great style icon, a great musician, songwriter. And so the idea of I'd worked with Tom Sutherland, the director, some years before, and he sent me through the script to have a look at it. And I just said, Tom, I think it's amazing. It's such an amazing opportunity for an actor to get to play such a kind of iconic cultural figure, really. So that really drew me to it.
And for me, I suppose, well, similarly in some ways, I knew nothing about Gertrude Lawrence before the script kind of landed in my inbox. It came out of the blue to some degree. And I read it and thought, well, it's so interesting. It's a woman and a period of time that I know very little about. And it was just a great opportunity to dive into Noel Coward's works and try and get to know them a little bit and get to know her life story and his as well. And a challenge as well, because it's, there's a lot of material for both of us to learn. And, I like a challenge. So that was it for me. So
you a good few shows into the run now. How are audiences... How are you finding the audiences reacting to the show?
Very well.
Yeah.
The thing that I think is, as we've delved into it as actors, it's so rich and there's so much there. So, of course, there's huge amounts of humour and the audiences have really reacted to that. It gets some really warm, laughing responses. But also there are some moments of pathos and some deeply felt sections in the show, and you can really feel the audience listening and being drawn into the piece as well, which is lovely to feel. Yeah,
people are quite moved by it. I think I've had quite a few people in this week and they've all loved it, and I think to say that they're pleasantly surprised by it is not quite what I mean, but just the way that it sort of feels perhaps more contemporary than people are necessarily expecting when they come to see it. But it's gotten a really lovely response so far. We're really pleased.
And I don't know whether this sort of follows on, but audiences obviously come to see anything Noel and Gertie wise for the glamour, the wit, the music. But what's something that you think will surprise them about this show?
I think the way that we've been able to recontextualize some of it regards Noel's kind of personal life. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about the additional scene that Tom, our director, was given permission to slot in, but yeah, I think you're a better place to talk about that than I am, to be honest.
Yeah, so of course the issue around Noel Coward's private life and the way that really his homosexuality was dealt with is touched on not too heavily in the second half, but in a very moving way, whereby we do it. Rebecca and I do a section from Brief Encounter, and then it's gender switched, and I take on the Rebecca role, and one of our other performers on stage, Joey, takes on what would have been the Noel Coward role in Brief Encounter, the male role. And just to give an idea of how that then reads for a gay couple, really, and it really works. It's very moving.
Yeah, it really is. It's so illuminating, and you sit there. I get to sit on stage and just listen and enjoy it, and it's wonderful every night because I can feel the audience thinking, oh, well, yes, of course, that's what he was writing about in the only way he could at the time. It's fascinating.
And I think also, in addition to the wit, the glamour, the style, all of that stuff that you said, at the heart of the piece, though, is the relationship between Noel and Gertie. And I think that is of course, the piece is called Noel and Gertie. You know it's going to be about these two people and what they did, but quite how deep their relationship was, how playful it was, how naughty it was, how fun it was, how affectionate it was, is really lovely and unexpected, I think, for some people.
You're backstage with Eat, Theatre, Sleep, Repeat. Make sure you hit follow.
And to add as well, you've got quite a small ensemble around you. How do you think they help to sort of bring the show and the era that it's in to life on stage?
Well, they're just tremendous. Joey and Michaela are our two musicians. And of course, Joey steps into one scene and Michaela's got some dialogue as well. But, you know, they're both playing piano. Michaela's playing accordion and banjo as well. But what I think is really lovely is that I feel like it's given us a real sense of ownership of the piece, because the four of us are making the whole thing on stage. You know, everything's visible. Everything is happening in front of you. There's no band kind of tucked away, for instance. And it's a really lovely collaborative experience, I think, to be up there with them and to have them to bounce off of sometimes.
Exactly. And they're on, just to give an idea of the kind of design and the setup of the stage, there are these two pianos that are constantly being moved to make different kinds of formations. So at one point, the backs of the pianos become a train carriage, or something on which Rebecca and I stand, and we're elevated, and it's lovely. It's really nice.
We've done some digging and we've tried to find out whether either of your characters had actually performed here at Blackpool Grand Theatre. Unfortunately, we couldn't find anything that fully proved that Gertrude Lawrence was here on the stage, but we did find that Noel Coward himself performed here not once but 3 times in total when he brought his play parade here in 1942, and of that he brought Blithe Spirit as well. For you guys, how does it feel going onto a stage where you know that, I mean, at least Noel Coward performed on that stage himself?
It's just a bit magical, isn't it? To know that all these years later his work is still being done, and, you know, one would hope that he would enjoy it were he still around to see it. But...
And I think in true Blithe Spirit fashion, Madame Arcati, we're going to have to kind of look into our crystal balls before we go on and channel their spirits as we step up on the stage at Blackpool. I can't wait.
Excellent. Just before we go, I've got a couple of quick fire questions for you guys that I'm just very curious to know. Now, we'll just dive into those. Would you rather meet Noel Coward or Gertrude Lawrence in real life? A bit of a difficult one for you both, obviously, playing the characters that you do.
Go on.
With a huge apologies to Gertie, I think I'd rather meet Noel. He was just so erudite, and I'd love to kind of pick his brain and get to know
Gary?
Fascinating.
Well, I think for the sake of balance, I must say Gertie, because she would be such fun. Such fun.
So if you could select a perfect dinner date, who would that be?
Go on.
I feel like if I don't say my husband, he'll never forgive me. So I'm going to say my husband.
And I think I'm going to go for a figure that's probably in the lineage of Noel Coward and go for Oscar Wilde.
Oh, interesting. We ask this question quite a lot, and the sort of variety in guests that you get quite often, it always intrigues me just to see. One final one. Your favourite number from the show?
I love singing If Love Were All, actually. It's kind of a duet between the both of us, but I think it's such a beautiful song, and it's got a real poignancy where it lands in the show. And, you know, I start it off and then I just get to go and stand and listen to Gary's got a really lovely excerpt from a poem in the middle of it, and then he kind of takes over. And there's been a couple of times when I've completely forgotten to join back in because I'm kind of held so rapt by what he's doing. It's just lovely. It's a really lovely moment, I think.
And I think one of my favourite numbers, my favourite number in the show, is actually one of the few moments when I'm off the stage, I'm having a quick costume change and I get to hear Rebecca's rendition of a song called Sail Away, which is just glorious and soaring and that.
It's so fascinating to hear that, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. We really appreciate it. And we can't wait to welcome you to Blackpool.
Thank you. Yeah, can't wait. Thanks so much.
And thank you so much for joining us, Gary and Rebecca. We really appreciate that. Of course, cast from Noel and Gertie coming to Blackpool Grand Theatre this week, Wednesday 15th to Saturday 18th of October. Tickets are available. Book online via blackpoolgrandtheatre.co.uk or call box office 01253 290 190.
That's a wrap on Eat, Theatre, Sleep, Repeat. Thanks for joining us at Blackpool Grand Theatre. And don't forget to like, most definitely follow, and join us again. Until next time, stay fabulous.